Hey guys, it's Ray. I mentioned trying to keep up with videos, but I've been either busy or not, and relaxing. I wanted to talk about the fact that, no shocker, white people find so much discomfort when we speak about systemic oppression and racism, because that is our genocide. So why they would feel entitled to their victims actually considering their feelings when dealing and reacting to what we do, I do have an idea. It's their privilege, and the fact that for centuries they have been able to tell us when, what, where, how, and why to do whatever they want us to or not to do. A lot of white people will say, you're racist for speaking up against it, even whenever it is someone who does not necessarily dislike white people as a result of this. And then they will mention the dictionary. Well, this is what racism means. It means not liking this, that, or the other based on race, yada, yada, yada. And for that reason, I like to at least mention the fact that America is still committing genocide against the Aboriginal people of America and Africa. It doesn't matter if we're diluted and polluted with European blood because of colonialism. A lot of people think that mentioning people like me who have light skin or parents of different races, it somehow means that we should be quiet or considerate of Europeans, even though some of us, like me, have no white parents, no white grandparents, no white great-grandparents, but still have European blood in us. It wasn't married into our family. So there's only one more reason. Some idiot in the comments section, I actually seen it, came across it, because I don't really check them that often, because I don't care what white people have to say. It has no effect on me. What they do does. And one of them mentioned the fact that African Americans have around 20% of European blood, which most likely came from slave masters. So technically, we're more likely to have slave owners in our family, so we should actually consider that before speaking. Whew. Dumbest crap ever. It's like saying, because I've been raped, I actually have been in the company of rapists more often, so I should be judged based on the company I keep. Makes no logical sense whatsoever, but when it comes to reacting to the truth about your people, that's usually what happens whenever it comes to white America. White Americans are the only people who will celebrate people and holidays and be offended whenever you actually have conversations about it or them, like MLK or Columbus Day, any of this stuff. When you speak actual truth about these things, it makes them uncomfortable, and yet they still claim, it's just a day, it's just this, oh, he had a dream, don't judge people, what about this? And they come up with their fallacies and gaslighting and all these other psychological games that have no effect on people who are mentally superior. Because that's basically what colonialism is today and always has been. It is mental inferiority mixed with social superiority. And mixing those two makes a group of people who are unwilling to understand their ignorance or the effect that they have that negatively impacts people around them that they claim have the same rights and same, oh, just go to school, get an education, do this, that, and the other. And whenever you actually mention the differences and the struggles and how rare it is for black and brown people to make it out of poverty, let alone make it to their average income, they like to pretend that doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Same thing with police brutality and all these other things. And they'll mention, oh, well, my family was poor. Poor white people have done more physical damage than anybody else. Well, we're Irish, and no, the Irish have done way more damage than what they are willing to own up to here in America. They have caused the majority of the race riots based on their own selfish greed and jealousy. And they made up well, we didn't own slaves. Yes, but you worked for the slave owners as overseers and slave catchers and police officers. Well, what about the Jews? They are the wealthiest here in this country, and they control the media, which makes people perceive black and brown people a certain way. Also guilty. Well, black people are proven dumber than white people. The fact of that matter is racist science has been disproven a long, long time ago. And in order to actually still believe stuff like that, without even taking into account the poverty, which leads to poor education, and the history of the parents that are raising the children and know less than the children, your IQ is basically smaller than my shoe size to believe something that's stupid. Well, y'all didn't have anything. If it wasn't for us, you'd still be living in mud huts and doing this, that, and all this other bullshit. When Africa had universities, Africa had civilizations thousands of years before white people came to Africa, taught them how to wash their ass, but they expect us to believe that all the things we know came from Europe? Not likely. Had it not been for Africans and not the other way around like a lot of people like to pretend, most likely Europeans would be, well, not Aboriginal Europeans obviously because they were actually darker, but white Europeans would most likely be extinct like all of the people that they came in contact with and the animals that they've came in contact with, because genocide is the only way to elongate the inevitable. That's why today black and brown people are living less, shorter lives because of the poisoning in our community with the food, the water, the immunizations. The stress and the struggle also takes time off of our lives. All the missing organs popping up in dead teenagers. There are all these things that they're going out of their way to elongate their lives and shorten up ours because they're trying to slow down this process of their own extinction. And that's why they won't be around too much longer. I don't even think 100 more years because, well, white women procreate outside of their race more than anybody else. So that's one thing. The suicide rate is huge in the white community. The overdose rate, heroin, huge, which by the way, all of that was brought into here from Afghanistan by the American government, but we'll pretend that Trump followers and supporters want to build that wall to keep drug dealers out whenever our government is the biggest drug dealer. And people aren't having white babies as fast as white people are dying. And none of this stuff is going to stop the inevitable. We will still outlive them. We will still, after they're gone, grow as a people, even though they have been poisoning our minds with BS on TV, making us feel some kind of way about ourselves, making other people feel a certain way about us. And still, every single generation you have seen, black people, black children, still outdo white people and get no credit for it, or be forgotten or overlooked. Same as all of the history and the culture that was here before people came and stole it, and us. Even on TV, even on the music. Every genre of music that you're hearing on TV, on the radio, black folks came up with, and white folks colonized that shit. And now you only see black folks doing the R&B and the rap. Occasionally, pop. But whenever white artists want to be popular and gain popularity, they go and find black people to liven up their music and make them popular hits so that they can make money off of black people. I laugh whenever people claim that without them, we would be nowhere, when it's complete opposite. And I laugh at stupid racists who are in America, who are dumb as hell, who tell people, this is America, speak English, whenever someone's speaking Spanish or has an accent. For one, this is America, not England. For two, Spanish is a European fucking language also. They don't fathom the idea that they are uneducated and dumbed down just as much as we are, so that they can also be pawns and slaves in the system, because they're too busy trying to have false pride about the fact that they are not black because of the fact that their genetics are weak. You can go and look online at genetics and find dominant and regressive, and all of ours are dominant except for people like me with light eyes or whatever. All of theirs recessive. They are not a more evolved version of black people. They are simply a genetic mutation that was weaker but kept alive based on all the genocide that they have caused. And then when we mention genocide, what about the Irish? What about the Jews? Okay, let's talk about that, and how we can all still agree that all of these genocides were still carried out by Europeans. It's really not that difficult. It's just they have to be pathological to feel better about themselves because they're already miserable people. Miserable people go out of their way to make other people miserable. And without a doubt, if there was one race of people that could be exterminated and the earth would improve, I'm pretty sure it's pretty simple to see who it would be, unless you only listen to the television and the propaganda that boosts an ego that shouldn't be there. No. Saying someone is light-skinned or mixed or not black enough is not going to change the facts that that person speaks based on white supremacy and claiming that someone is stupid or needs to go to school is not going to make them any less correct whenever it comes to things that can easily be verified. Claiming that more black people are in prison when there's only 13% population should tell you that racism still exists because they are being targeted, but instead they choose to pretend everyone is everything that they are. From the violent ones, to the wetbacks, to the deadbeat dads, to the horrible parents. History will show who dumped their kids off at school so they wouldn't have to raise them themselves, who had everyone else breastfeeding and raising their children, who caused the most violent acts of terrorism in this country and worldwide, who had a bunch of kids with rape victims and just left them and made them property. It's all there. And then you can mention, oh, well, y'all don't even get married, blah, blah, blah. And then not even look at the fact that the war on drugs, the war on poverty, LBJ, all this stuff, he started all this mess. Before then, black men and women were more likely to be married than white men and women. Up until the incarceration started, the families were whole. But all throughout white supremacy and colonialism here, they have always separated the families intentionally, just because they have managed a way to psychologically program a lot of us into believing it's us and it's our fault. It will not make it any less false. Looking at the exoneration rates whenever it comes to people being charged for murder that they didn't actually do, over 60% are black people. But none of that is taken into consideration either. Nor is the fact that white people get away with murder and rape and every other crime more so than anybody else because of the privilege. So in fact, there are a lot more innocent black people in prison than there are white people. And not only that, there are a lot more white rapists, pedophiles, murderers, thieves walking amongst us, being treated way better than black folks just for the simple fact that they're black. It is what it is. And that's why people like me, when you come to me and try to get me to be nicer or to shut me up with some kind of shaming tactic about my skin color or education level or any of these things, whenever I can prove, I always have information. I just don't actually care to do the work for white people when we've been doing that for centuries. Get your ass up. Take your flat ass to the library. Log into your fucking computer. You're overpaid. You should have one. You're overhired. And if you're poor and white, you gotta be the laziest and the dumbest motherfucker ever, because this is your world, right? But yeah, no, I will not be nicer or calmer or silent about my genocide. I want you to feel shame. I want you to feel anger. You can call me all kinds of niggers and spicks and mutts and all kinds of crap. It rolls right on off. Because I don't value anything that y'all say, because I have proven time and time again how uneducated and stupid y'all are willfully. There is literally not a time where I've read anything online that has upset me that has come from a white person. You can call me any and every damn negative name, and I'm still going to see myself as better, bigger, badder than you, even if my bank account isn't. And no amount of words that I say that hurt your feelings are ever going to make me as evil as y'all. You don't have to own slaves. You don't have to shoot black kids. Time and time again, when evil things happen, they worsen, not because they keep happening, but because people keep silent and doing nothing, just like white people have been doing since they started getting the rest of us to do everything for them. You standing by and not doing anything about all this crap is just as bad, wrong, guilty. So no, I'm not going to respect you. I'm not going to talk to you like an equal, because you're not my equal.